At the beginning of the story, we see a man named Dany Dog, who is tied with a leash around his neck like an animal. Dany is a human, yet he is treated like a dog. Since childhood, Dany has been trained to kill other humans. The moment the leash is removed from his neck, he turns extremely violent and begins killing people like a machine. He continues attacking everyone until his owner orders him to stop. Without the leash, Dany completely loses control, and like a savage creature, attacks anyone in his path except his owner. But the instant the leash is placed back around his neck, he becomes calm again. As long as Dany remains on the leash, he does not harm anyone. During these fights, Dany often suffers severe injuries. However, his owner has trained him so brutally that he feels no pain. In reality, Dany's owner, Victor, is a moneylender. When people fail to return his money on time, Victor removes Dany's leash and uses him to beat them. Afterward, Victor collects his money and warns them that next time, he will not stop Dany so easily. Victor then takes Dany to other debtors who also owe him money. When they refuse to pay, Victor once again removes the leash from Dany's neck. Dany immediately loses his senses and attacks them violently, forcing them to hand over the money. Despite making Victor's dangerous work effortless, Dany has shown no respect. Victor constantly insults him and treats him like nothing more than a dog. Instead of being given a room to sleep in, Dany is locked inside a cage like an animal. One day, after returning from a brutal fight, one of Victor's men notices that Dany's head is bleeding badly. He informs Victor that Dany is seriously injured, but instead of helping him, Victor coldly tells Dany to bandage his own wounds. Dany's mind is innocent, like that of a child, and he has no idea how to do it. He has never seen the outside world and has spent his entire life inside this cage. He lives completely alone with no one to talk to. One night, Dany finds a book inside his cage filled with alphabet letters and pictures. He slowly flips through the pages, staring at the drawings. Suddenly, he comes across an image of a piano. The moment he sees it, he gently touches the picture, as if he shares a deep connection with it. Just then, Victor brings a woman home. As Victor is about to get close to her, she notices Dany trapped in the cage below. Terrified by the sight, she screams and runs away. Victor's night is ruined and his anger explodes. In a rage, he begins shouting abuses at Dany. But Victor's words no longer affect him, as Dany cannot understand right from wrong anymore. The next day, Victor takes Dany out for work once again. This time, they arrive at a boxing club to collect unpaid money. The club owner steps forward and presents a powerful wrestler to face Dany. The owner believed Victor would run away in fear. But when Dany quickly overpowers several of the owner's men, the wrestler loses his courage and refuses to fight. The wrestler warns his boss to hand over the money, saying that Dany will defeat everyone if they resist. Victor then takes Dany to meet a highly influential man who also owes him money. This man is a powerful smuggler dealing in human trafficking. Because of the man's influence, Victor approaches him politely and asks for the payment. The man is extremely clever and understands that if Dany's leash is removed, none of them will survive. So, before Victor can react, the man suddenly grabs him and begins beating him mercilessly. All of this happens right in front of Dany's eyes. Yet Dany does nothing, because the leash is still fastened around his neck. The man then orders his men to kill Victor. After giving the command, he leaves the scene to handle a business deal elsewhere. Meanwhile, Victor somehow manages to free himself from the attackers. He immediately removes Dany's leash and orders him to finish everyone. The moment the leash comes off, Dany goes berserk and attacks them brutally. More goons rush in, but Dany takes them down as well. Victor then brings Dany to the location where the man is conducting his business deal. There, Dany grabs the man and throws him to the ground. All of the man's arrogance disappears instantly. Begging for his life, he tells Victor to take whatever he wants and spare him from Dany. Victor knows that this man is involved in gold and diamond smuggling. He opens the man's bag and steals all the gold and diamonds inside. At this point, we are introduced to a man named Tom, who organizes illegal fights. Tom is deeply impressed by Dany's fighting abilities. Although Victor has already taken gold and diamonds in place of the money, he remains furious with Dany. Victor is angry because he was being beaten earlier while Dany stood there doing nothing. Victor's men shove Dany into the car and drive back to their base. On the way, Victor vents his anger, saying that Dany watched silently while he was being attacked. Victor tells Dany that he will never change and will always remain an animal. Dany listens quietly without responding. Several days pass and Victor punishes Dany by denying him food and water. Dany remains locked inside the cage, weak, hungry, and thirsty. After a few days, Victor releases him because he needs to collect money from another man. However, Victor is now afraid that Dany might make another mistake. Before going in, Victor explains the plan to Dany carefully. He tells him that he will enter first and demand the money. If they refuse to pay, Victor will press a remote that turns on a red light. The moment the red light appears, Dany must immediately go inside and attack. Victor repeats these instructions again and again to make sure Dany understands. Victor then enters the place with his men. Dany stays outside, staring fixedly at the light. He waits for a long time, but the red light never turns on. Meanwhile, Dany's eyes fall on a broken piano, the same one he had seen in a drawing inside a book a few days earlier. Drawn toward it, he walks over and gently begins touching the keys. At that moment, a man named Sam approaches from behind. Sam is blind and works as a piano teacher. He also repairs damaged pianos and has come there to fix this one. Sam calls Dany closer and asks for his name, but Dany does not reply. Sam explains that he is there to repair the piano and needs Dany's help. He tells Dany that he will move to to the other side of the piano. Sam instructs him to press the keys whenever he gives a signal. Dany begins playing as Sam starts tuning the piano from behind. Dany feels happiness while playing, and his mind drifts away from everything else. In the process, he completely forgets about the red light. After a while, Sam says that he hears a ticking sound and asks if Dany can hear it too. Hearing this, Dany suddenly turns his attention toward the light. He notices that the red light is blinking. Realizing the danger, Dany immediately runs toward Victor, but by the time he arrives, it is already too late. The thugs have brutally beaten Victor and left him badly injured. Victor, filled with rage, blames Dany for ignoring the red light for nearly half an hour. As punishment, Victor takes Dany back to the base. He locks Dany inside the cage and begins thinking of a harsher punishment. Just then, one of Victor's men approaches him and says that someone wants to meet him. Angry and disturbed, Victor initially refuses, but the man adds that the visitor is extremely wealthy and could bring them a large amount of money. Hearing this, Victor immediately changes his mind and agrees to the meeting. When the visitor enters, it is revealed to be Tom, the man who had watched Dany fight earlier. Tom tells Victor that he has seen Dany's fighting skills and is deeply impressed. He explains that he organizes a special fight every month. Tom promises that if Dany wins, Victor will earn more money than he has ever imagined. However, he also reveals that this is a brutal form of fighting, where a fighter must kill the opponent to win. Already furious with Dany and seeking severe punishment, Victor accepts Tom's offer. The next day, Victor takes Dany to the underground fight venue. Tom introduces Victor to the opposing fighter and claims that no one has defeated him in the last 15 matches. The fighter appears tall, strong, and terrifying. As the fight begins, Victor removes Dany's belt and orders him to show his strength. Hearing this command, Dany charges forward at full speed. Within seconds, he strikes the fighter's neck 2 or 3 times. The powerful opponent collapses and never gets back up. The crowd is left in shock, unable to believe what they have just witnessed. Tom stands frozen, struggling to understand how the fight ended before it truly began. Victor receives the promised payment and feels overwhelming joy. The amount equals his entire year's earnings, and he believes he no longer needs to work again. Victor proudly declares that he will now make Dany fight regularly and earn huge amounts of money. He is filled with joy and excitement. Victor then asks Dany what he wants as a reward. Dany stays silent for a moment before quietly saying that he wants a piano. Hearing this, Victor laughs and mocks him. He asks what Dany would even do with a piano. Victor suggests going to a fancy restaurant and introducing Dany to a woman, saying he has never been with one before, but Dany firmly refuses and repeats that he only wants a piano. While they are talking, a truck suddenly crashes into their car, flipping it over. Armed men step out of the truck and open fire. They are the men of the gold smuggler whom Dany had defeated days earlier. Everyone is killed in the attack except Dany. Dany manages to escape and runs to the place where he first met Sam. Sam is there repairing the piano. Hearing the noise, Sam realizes that Dany has arrived. Dany is badly injured and collapses after losing consciousness. When Dany wakes up, he finds himself lying on a bed inside a room. This terrifies him, as he has never slept on a bed before. Victor had always forced him to sleep on the floor inside a cage. Out of fear, Dany hides under the bed. A short time later, Sam enters the room and senses Dany's fear. Without speaking, Sam places food under the bed and quietly leaves. Several days pass like this, and Dany refuses to come out of the room. One day, Dany finally steps outside and sees Sam playing the piano. Just then, Sam's stepdaughter, Victoria, enters the room. The moment Dany sees her, he panics and runs back into his room. Victoria approaches Sam and asks him what Dany likes. Sam tells her that Dany loves music. Hearing this, Victoria quickly picks up a small piano and goes to Dany's room. Dany is hiding under the bed. Victoria gently places the piano near him and leaves without saying a word. Later that evening, while Sam and Victoria are having dinner, Dany comes out carrying the piano. Sam invites Dany to sit with them. He offers Dany some food. However, Dany eats in a strange manner, like an animal rather than a human. Seeing this, Victoria realizes that Dany does not know how to eat properly. She patiently teaches him how to use a spoon. Even then, Dany behaves like a child and drinks the soup in one big gulp. Sam and Victoria laugh at the sight. Dany, unable to understand why they are laughing, laughs along with them even louder. That night, when Dany goes to his room to sleep, Sam follows him. Sam gently tries to remove the leash from Dany's neck. Dany immediately stops him, fearing that removing the leash might cause him to lose control and hurt Sam. Sam does not force him and calmly tells Dany to remove it whenever he feels ready. The next day, Sam takes Dany to the market to help him learn how to interact with people. Sam teaches him how to shop. After returning home, Sam shows Dany how to cook. In the evening, Sam tells Dany that Victoria must be finished with college by now. He asks Dany to go and bring her home. Dany agrees and heads straight to Victoria's college. On the way, Victoria treats Dany to ice cream, takes him to the cinema, and teaches him how to play the piano. Sam feels truly happy with his life now, as Dany is slowly learning to socialize like a normal person. That night, Dany returns home and notices a photograph of Victoria with her parents inside the cupboard. Seeing the picture, he realizes that Victoria is Sam's stepdaughter. When Dany asks about it, Sam explains that Victoria's father died in a car accident and was once his close friend. After his death, Sam married Victoria's mother. For some time, everything went well, but a year later, they met with another accident. The accident took Victoria's mother's life and left Sam blind. Hearing this story, Dany feels deep sorrow for both Sam and Victoria. As days pass, Dany begins to see himself as a part of their family. He starts to feel normal for the first time in his life. However, the leash is still tied around his neck, and no one has removed it yet. One day, while talking to Dany, Victoria gently tries to remove the leash. The moment she touches it, Dany's mind fills with terrifying thoughts. He remembers his training to kill anyone once the leash is removed. Fear grips him as he worries that he might hurt Victoria. Victoria calmly tells him that he has already left his past behind. She says that removing the leash is the final step to his freedom. Dany remains silent as Victoria slowly removes the leash from his neck. Nothing happens after it is taken off. Dany realizes that he has learned to control himself. He is now completely free from Victor's control. The next day, Sam takes Dany back to Market Lake. They enter a shop and begin shopping together. Suddenly, a group of thugs storms into the market and starts destroying everything. Panic spreads and everyone runs away in fear. Dany, however, stays calm and does not move. When the thugs attack him, he defeats them one by one. The people watching are stunned by Dany's strength and fighting skills. After returning home, Sam asks Dany how he managed to do all of that. Dany finally tells him the entire truth. He explains how a man named Victor treated him like an animal and abused him for years. That night, Sam takes Dany with him to work at a piano repair job. While fixing the piano, Sam tells Dany that once Victoria completes her studies, they will return to New York. Hearing this, Dany feels sad, believing that he will be left alone again, but Sam reassures him and says that he wants Dany to come with them. Sam tells him that he is now a part of their family and that the family would be incomplete without him. Dany is filled with joy and hugs Sam in agreement. After finishing the work, Sam gives Dany some money. He tells Dany that since he helped repair the piano, half of the payment belongs to him. Sam asks him to buy something for himself from the market. Dany goes to the shopping mall and buys something for himself for the first time. As he leaves the mall and starts heading home, a man suddenly appears in front of him. The man is one of Victor's men, and his sudden appearance startles Dany. Recognizing him, the man asks where Dany has been all these days. He says that they have been searching for him everywhere. The man tells Dany that now they have found him and demands that he return home. He says that the boss is waiting for him. Dany, now happy with his new life, refuses to go back. Hearing this, the man warns him that if he does not return, the boss will send his goons to hunt him down and kill him. He adds that going back willingly is in Dany's best interest. Left with no choice, Dany reluctantly agrees to return to Victor. Victor is overjoyed to see Dany again, as Dany is the source of his wealth. In reality, Victor was badly injured during the shooting and had spent several months recovering in the hospital. When Dany approaches him, Dany asks if Victor knows anything about his mother. Victor replies that he found Dany half dead on the side of the road. He claims that he raised him and kept him alive. Victor says that without him, Dany would have died of hunger and thirst that very day. Speaking for his own benefit, Victor suddenly treats Dany with false affection. He knows that only Dany can help him recover the losses he suffered over the past few months. The next day, Victor once again places the leash around Dany's neck and takes him to another fight. There they meet Tom. Tom announces that this fight will be even more entertaining, as deadly weapons will be allowed. He introduces a terrifying fighter who has just killed another opponent. Victor shows no concern about the challenger, as he is confident Dany will defeat him easily. Victor removes Dany's collar and orders him to knock the opponent out. But Dany refuses and says that he does not want to hurt anyone. Hearing this, Victor becomes furious and shoves Dany into the fighting ring. The brutal fighter immediately attacks Dany, intending to kill him. Instead of fighting back, Dany tries to avoid the attacks and escape. The fighter launches one deadly strike after another, but Dany only blocks them. It becomes clear that the fighter will not stop until Dany is dead. Overwhelmed with anger, Dany raises his fist to strike back, but suddenly stops himself. Seeing this, Tom questions Victor, asking why Dany is not fighting. In response, Victor picks up an axe and throws it into the ring, ordering Dany to kill his opponent. Dany refuses to pick up the weapon, as he does not want to kill anyone. Taking advantage of the situation, the opponent grabs the axe and attacks Dany. Despite the danger, Dany easily dodges the attacks. This enrages Tom even more. He declares that he will make the fight even more dangerous. Tom then sends additional fighters into the ring. Together, they brutally attack Dany. They beat him repeatedly, lift him up, and slam him to the ground. This finally pushes Dany beyond his limit. Dany snaps and returns to his old, ferocious state. He grabs each attacker and beats them down one by one. Seeing this, Tom throws even more weapons into the ring. But Dany is no longer affected by fear or pain. Even with 3 fighters attacking him together, they cannot harm him. Dany picks up a hammer and crushes one fighter's bones. He then unleashes a storm of punches on another, leaving him critically injured. Seeing this, the 3rd fighter becomes terrified and surrenders. With all 3 fighters defeated, Victor believes he has won. He orders Dany to kill the 3 men, explaining that according to the rules, he will not get paid unless they die. Dany refuses to obey and allows the fighters to leave alive. This decision fills Victor with rage. Despite Dany's incredible performance, Victor earns nothing from the fight. Blinded by anger, Victor takes Dany back to the base. There, his men brutally beat Dany for disobeying orders. Afterward, Victor locks Dany inside a cage once again. Meanwhile, Sam and Victoria are shown deeply worried about Dany's disappearance. Victoria is especially anxious and says that Dany had been living peacefully with them after the leash was removed. They have no idea that Dany has once again fallen into a nightmare. We then see Dany trapped in the cage, desperately longing to return to Sam and Victoria. He hates this life and wants to escape at any cost. Using his strength and determination, he somehow manages to break free from the cage. Dany goes straight to Victor's room and begins searching through it. He finds a large collection of photographs. Among them, he discovers a childhood picture of himself standing beside his mother. Shocked, Dany confronts Victor and asks how he could have a photo of his mother if he found him on the roadside. Victor tells Dany that he will finally reveal the truth. He claims that Dany's mother was a prostitute who often visited him. Victor says that after her death, he took Dany in and raised him like a son. Hearing this, Dany realizes that Victor is lying. He knows in his heart that his mother could never be a prostitute. Without arguing further, Dany calmly walks away. The next day, Victor prepares to take Dany to another fight. While driving, Dany suddenly turns the steering wheel, causing a serious accident. He removes the leash from his neck and escapes. Dany runs straight to Sam and Victoria's house. There, he tells Victoria that he found a photograph of his mother. When Victoria looks at the photo, she notices something unusual. She says that Dany's mother appears to be from a respectable family. Victoria believes she was a piano teacher, as the photo shows her playing the piano. Sam is also present and listens carefully. He asks Victoria what else she notices in the picture. Victoria observes that the photograph was taken inside an auditorium. She describes the details of the auditorium to Sam. From her description, Sam immediately recognizes the place. The three of them travel to the same auditorium where the photo was taken. An elderly librarian there tells them that the woman came from China many years ago. She explains that Dany's mother was an excellent piano player. One day, the woman suddenly disappeared, leaving behind her young son. The librarian then gives them another photograph that clearly shows Dany's mother's face. They return home with the truth finally coming together. That night, Victoria enters Dany's room and finds him quietly staring at his mother's photo. Dany is lost in memories of her. Seeing this, Victoria becomes deeply emotional. Victoria gently takes Dany's mother's photograph and studies it closely. She recognizes the piece of music Dany's mother was playing in the picture. Wanting to comfort him, Victoria asks if he would like to hear the music his mother used to play. Dany immediately agrees. Victoria begins playing the melody. As soon as the music reaches Dany's ears, memories from his childhood flood back. He remembers a time long ago when he was living peacefully with his mother. One day, his mother suddenly became silent and hid him inside a cupboard. Moments later, several goons entered their house, led by Victor. Victor began harassing Dany's mother because she had borrowed money from him. He demanded to take Dany as payment for the debt. When the goons tried to grab Dany, his mother stepped in and tried to stop them. Enraged by her resistance, Victor shot her. After killing her, Victor took Dany away with him. Remembering all this, Dany realizes the truth. Victor is the one responsible for ruining his life and killing his mother. Dany immediately tells Sam and Victoria that they must leave as soon as possible. He warns them that Victor and his men are searching for him. Dany fears that if they are found, Victor will kill all of them. At the same time, Victor arrives at the market where Dany used to shop. He shows Dany's photograph to a shop employee and threatens her. Out of fear, the employee gives Victor Dany's address. Soon after, Victor's men arrive outside Sam's house. Dany quickly locks Sam and Victoria inside a cupboard for their safety. He then runs out of the house and moves toward another area to mislead Victor. Outside, Dany confronts the goons and begins fighting them. The attackers seem endless, as if Victor has unleashed the entire city against him. Despite this, Dany refuses to give up. One by one, he defeats all of Victor's men. When Victor learns that all his goons have been killed, his anger explodes. He sends his most dangerous fighter to eliminate Dany. A brutal fight breaks out between them. The fighter's skills reveal that he knows all of Dany's weaknesses. For the first time, Dany faces an opponent who truly matches him. The fighter beats Dany severely, leaving him badly injured. Even then, Dany refuses to surrender. He continues fighting with everything he has left. After a long and exhausting battle, Dany finally kills the fighter. Seeing all his men defeated, Victor decides to face Dany himself. When Victor spots him, he opens fire without hesitation. Dany barely manages to escape. Victor continues chasing him relentlessly. Victor heads toward the house where Dany lived with Sam and Victoria. There, he finds Dany's leash lying on the ground. This confirms that Dany had been living there. At that moment, Victor spots Dany in front of him. Victor points his gun at Dany and tells him that this is not his home. He says that Dany belongs in a cage and that wherever Dany goes, danger follows. Victor claims that innocent people suffer because of Dany's presence. He warns that the people around Dany will die because of him. Victor then offers a cruel choice. He says that if Dany returns with him, he will spare the lives of Sam and Victoria. Sam and Victoria listen quietly from a distance. They smile gently at Dany, trying to give him courage. Victor takes out the leash and holds it in front of Dany. He tells him that his real world is not this peaceful life, but the cage. Victor threatens that if Dany refuses, he will kill the people Dany loves. Panicked and desperate to protect Sam and Victoria, Dany steps toward Victor. As Victor moves to place the leash around his neck, Dany suddenly stops him. Dany firmly declares that this place is his home now. Without hesitation, Dany attacks Victor. He beats him mercilessly, driven by the pain of his past and the memory of his mother. Sam and Victoria intervene. Victor tries to provoke Dany further. He cruelly reminds Dany of his mother and the things he did to her. Hearing this, Dany loses control of his anger. Before Dany can deliver the final blow, Sam strikes him on the head with a flower pot. The hit knocks Dany unconscious. With no one left to provoke him, Dany slowly calms down. Soon after, the police arrive at the scene. Victor is arrested and sentenced to life in prison. Days pass and Dany begins a new life. He finally finds a true family with Sam and Victoria. Dany is now happy and completely free from his painful past. At the end of the story, a large crowd gathers to attend Victoria's musical performance. Before the music begins, Victoria announces that the piece is dedicated to a very special person. Dany whispers to Sam that she must be talking about him. Sam smiles and tells Dany that she is indeed talking about him because he means everything to her. Victoria then plays the music written by Dany's mother. Hearing it, Dany is filled with joy and emotion. The story ends on this powerful moment. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Like the video if it touched your heart. Share it with your friends so more people can experience this story.